Hey everyone, welcome to the Soulful Women program where we're talking about what it means to be a woman full of soul. This is Janelle, and I met Janelle when I was studying at Binghamton University in French class. I was her teaching assistant.
That's right.
And then we became friends after that. And so here we are today to talk about what it means to be a woman full of soul. So Janelle, why don't you tell a little bit about yourself? What you do every day, what you're passionate about, what you care about most, what you value, all those things.
Yeah. Okay, well, hi everyone. As May said, my name is Janelle, and we met, of course, at Binghamton, where I got my degree in graphic design. So I'm a freelance graphic designer and photographer, and I'm also a sales consultant at the currently. And just some things that I care about. I really love the environment and conservation, like things like that, conservationism, sustainability, any effort to help preserve our planet is something that I've found very, interesting, and it's something that I truly care about. I'm not sure if Binghamton played a role at that because we went to a very green school.
We did.
And we had a nature reserve, so I don't know if that nurtured something in me and just made me take more notice of it, but it's something that's definitely developed as I've gotten older, and something I want to be more involved in. So even though I do freelance and do design work, I always like to support businesses or anything like that that is a little have eco-friendly products or is sustainable in any way, just trying not to harm the environment. So that's something that I'm always in the back of my mind when I'm looking to use my skills or abilities to help anyone. So that's just something I deeply care about, is just being the environmentalism and conservation of the planet. Because I think the Earth is actually really cool. There's so many cool things to see and do, and it plays again into me loving to travel and seeing the world. And I generally appreciate this beautiful planet that we live on. So there's that. I also love photography, and I do take portraits, and I do some behind the scenes work. I also do social media management for a TV show called Healthy Living in the Bronx, which my friend is the host and executive producer of, and it just highlights people and businesses just wanting to promote a healthier lifestyle for Bronx residents. So I do some designing and photography and social media managing for that. So they are on Instagram if you want to check that out as well, under just Healthy Living in the Bronx. And again, it's just me. Again, I've always wanted to use whatever skills that I've learned throughout my life to help people and to contribute to the planet in some way. So at some point, I guess my dream is to have my own design, maybe photography studio, and maybe having some portion of the profits go to conservation efforts or something like that. But again, just helping people with my design skills and photography, with businesses that care about causes, or I guess should say socially conscious causes, and just wanted to give back in that way with whatever skills that I have. So that's just a little bit about me.
Awesome. And what inspires you every day, or what really grounds you every day to do what you love and also to exist here?
I mean, if I'm being totally honest, there's something I struggle with a little bit, but I know this is gonna sound super weird, but I have a dog, so I think she does inspire me a lot. And I know that sounds weird, but there's just something about animals, just having a dog, she's just able to, they're just always present, and they're always can move and through moment to moment. I think just me as humans kind of have some trouble with that, and I always kind of admire her, and she always kind of makes me if I'm freaking out about something, she always makes me just stop and just be present and just be okay, like you're okay now. So I'm always inspired by that. I know that sounds a little weird, but
Is it the unconditional love that your dog gives, or what is it about that really touches you and inspires you?
It is that, and just how like she's just always like happy to see me, even if I stepped outside for like 2 minutes. I'm like, you just saw me, but okay. But again, it's really, I think for me, I'm always thinking and I'm always in my head, and I think she kind of again takes me out of my head and literally just in the present, and not so much worrying about the future or the past or anything. It's just, even if I'm just playing with her in that moment, it's just the moment, and it's kind of a strange meditation in a way, because that's what meditation is. It's supposed to bring you to the moment, and there are just times where I notice that when I'm just with her, like playing with her, if I just need to take a break from something, if I'm working on a design or anything like that, I just, all of a sudden I was like, I end up playing with her for a little bit, and I'm just super focused, and it's just like, just in that moment, and I'm not thinking about the future, I'm not thinking about the past, I'm just enjoying myself with my dog. So I always admire that she's able to kind of bring me that little moment of like peace there. So that's always inspiring, and just people that are following their dreams or doing something that they love or that they're passionate about, and not being afraid to pursue it is what I always find inspiring. I also love people that they do more than one thing, which I guess if I had to pick like a person in the limelight again with someone that I admire, would be of course Leonardo DiCaprio, because everyone knows him. He's an actor, yes, and he's Jack from Titanic.
Tell me why.
But he's also he's both a very talented actor, but he also does really phenomenal conservation work, and he's always been very outspoken about that, and I really admire that about him. I admire that about any, like, even public figure, right? It doesn't matter who, but I just like that, because society kind of makes you feel sometimes that you only have to be this one thing, and there's just like, I don't believe that. I think us humans are very multifaceted, and we can have multiple passions. So in the example of him, and again, I admire his environmental work, but he can be a great actor and still do a lot of his activism and his environmental conservation work, and he's known for both, and he's successful at both. So I always, things like that, and people that can balance that really well.
Well, you care about multiple things. People care about multiple things.
Exactly.
So it makes sense to have yourself in more than one area or category, and to really grow yourself and to explore all those areas that you are passionate about, and what you care about, and what really makes your soul feel alive.
Right.
So in certain ways, how do you feel that your soul is alive? What if there was one word you could use to define your soul, and the one word you would use to define it being fully alive, what would that word be?
OMG. Oh my gosh. I think growth. I think growth is my word.
Why? Why growth? What is it about that?
Because I'm constantly changing, and I think I'm working on it. I don't extend a lot of grace to myself, but I am literally a work in progress, and I think growth resonates with that, because through all my experiences thus far, I've had to grow, and I've had to change, and I've had to accept some hard things about life, about myself, and again, it's just all part of that word growth, and just being okay with that, and knowing that it's part of being human, it's part of being a whole human being. It's just growth and constant change, and not being so set in one way of thinking. It's knowing that what works for you might not work for someone else, and that's okay. But my growth has just always been that thing, because I've always had to change based on the situation, and that's okay. I when I do self-reflect again, society doesn't always, I don't want to say, again, it's this very rigid way of being,
Right.
and I'm like that. I've had to change my mindset about that because that's not the way to go about things. Because again, we're human. We're always changing. Something happens, and now what you thought you knew, now you don't know. You know. So for me, growth is just, it's a word that resonates because I'm always growing and changing, and I'm not the same person I was a year ago. I'm not the same person I was 5 minutes ago. Like it's just, so it's just that constant change and being comfortable with that because change is hard. Growth is hard. It's not, you know, like this easy thing and you just sit and it's gonna be okay and oh I've changed and it's great. I'm like no,
It's not that easy.
it's not
It's
easy
really
at
not.
all. So there's lots of soul work. There's lots of self work that you know I've had to do, and again it's just all part of the growing process and just trying to become, you know, the person I guess I'm meant to be. But even then, that is what I don't know what it would look like if I'm constantly growing and changing. So that's kind of a conundrum there. But yeah.
Mhm. If you had to explain how growth is beautiful, how would you explain it? In what ways is growth beautiful?
Oh, I think I think it's beautiful. I think in terms of, because it's transformation in a way. I think if everything was the same, I think it would get boring really quickly. Um, um, I think in terms of growth, I think nature or trees are always the example, and for good reason. I mean, if you plant a seed, it's in the dark, and it's, you know, again, that could be related to life, and again, but when you do emerge and you grow into something beautiful, I mean, it starts out dark, and you hope that you transform into something beautiful, like a tree or a flower. So that's in terms of, if I had to describe it, it's transformation. I think transformation is always beautiful. Even on a lighter note, like even if you transform when you put makeup on to feel good about yourself, like that's transformation and that's beautiful, and that could all be seen as part of growth, you know. So I think that's how I would describe it. I think I answered
Amazing,
your
you
questions.
did. You did great. And so, what challenges are you facing? Just name one challenge you're facing now and how you are trying to work at overcoming whatever that challenge is.
um, I think I had touched on it a little bit before, but just not being so hard on myself. I have um, a tendency to not be as forgiving of myself like I am with other people and my friends. Like I'm able to, you know, say, oh no, you shouldn't be this hard on yourself, and you know, I can be encouraging and all that stuff to my friends and everything, but extending that grace to myself is very difficult because I'm very hard on myself, and I'm trying not to. It's on my resolutions for the new year to practice some self-care and, you know, try and be good to myself in that way. Um, Whether it's I just want to, you know, watch a movie and stay in, or, you know, just little self-care stuff. If I wanted to do a face mask or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
just allowing myself and giving myself that space to um, to be, and not be so hard on myself if I don't get something right away, or like I recently started a new job, like I was saying, as a sales consultant, and if I don't get something right away, I tend to get really frustrated and hard on myself, like why don't I get something, and you know, I can't be like that, so I have to, you know, have some self-talk And if you were telling your friends about this, you would probably tell them to take it easy, that they're learning something new.
Right.
So that's been the hardest thing for me. I do struggle a little bit with mental health, so I don't know if I can get really sad and down and depressed. So sometimes it's hard for me. That's a big struggle for me, and part of the reason probably why I'm also hard on myself. But again, I am taking steps to practice lots of self-care and just, again, trying to find that grace to give to myself that I've given to my friends and family. So
Yeah. Awesome. What if there's one thing you could tell every woman on the face of the planet that you thought they needed to know, or you wished you had known earlier, or whatever way you want to look at it, what would that one thing be? What is that one nugget that you're like, they have to know this?
That you're enough. Period. There's no explanation needed. You are a whole human being, and you are perfect and magnificent and divine. In whatever state you are currently you are still enough. And if it's not enough for the people around you, you are enough for yourself. That's what I would say.
Why is that the one thing that you would say?
Because I feel like, just as a young adult and just seeing the media, everything, it's just, we're just constantly being told to be one thing, or we can't be this and we can't be that, or again, it has that whole thing with being one thing or the other, and I'm like, I don't agree with that. I always kind of thought it was super annoying. Actually, I'm just like, why can't I be both things? And again, it's that constant, you can't be, or just fully be, I think is always it's just a thing, and I don't agree with it, and I find it very, very annoying.
Right.
But just knowing that you're enough and you can be and do whatever it is that you want to be and do. I mean, we're women. I mean, we birth whole nations, for the love of God. Like, we can do and be anything, and we are enough. And point blank period. We don't have to explain anything or justify anything. We just are, and that's it. And if you don't like that, then you can go somewhere else. Like, because I don't know what else to say to you. Like, you're enough, and you're whole, and you're perfect just the way you are.
What is one thing you're grateful for?
Oh,
or if you want to name more than one, that's fine too.
I am grateful for my friends. I have been so blessed to have the friends that I have, and for the people that I've met, but for my best friend that I've known since 4th grade. I've started to keep a gratitude journal, and I can't write enough how grateful I am for my friendships, because they are my family. And I might not be as close with my blood family, but my friends have become my family. And the saying is very true. You can choose your family, and you can surround yourself with people that love and care about you. And I am eternally grateful to God for blessing me with people and my friends that have seen me through some very, very hard times in my life, and just being there and holding space for me, even when I have breakdowns and I'm having a really horrible day. I know I can pick up the phone and and say, hey, like today is a bad day. And even if they don't know what to say, they're just there. And I can call them like in the middle of work and just like, I don't know, and they'll just be there. We'll be there in complete silence, not saying anything, and just supporting me in that way. And I know a lot of people don't have that. And for that, I'm truly grateful, for sure.
You said something a little bit about holding space. Can you explain what that looks like, what that is? What is that idea, that holding space for you or for someone?
Holding space for me is a term that actually, like, me and my friends, like, we kind of say that it's just allowing someone to be. I think we get so caught up in trying to fix things because we care, and we want to fix things for the people that we care about, and we don't want to see them hurting. But we have to accept the fact that we can't solve and we can't always fix things, but what we can do is be there. And by holding space, I mean just being, even if it's not physically there, it's just being an emotional support for someone. So say even if you're going through something, and maybe I can't physically do anything about it, but what I can do is hold a space for you, a non-judgment space for you, and understand and show empathy that this is hard, and you have someone there that is an emotional support for you, that won't judge you, won't try to tell you how to be, or manipulate you in any sort of way, and just hold the space for you to just, if you're feeling sad, then be sad. I'm not going to say, oh, you'll get over it, or you won't, it's not that important, or like, no one wants to hear that. They just need a space to even if it's just to break down and cry, just a non-judgment space just to be. Because again, society's always telling us what we should and should not be. Yeah. And that's what my friendships have given me. Because if I've had really hard days, I don't want anyone to be like, they don't get it, or like if I'm super sad, because again, there are days I struggle with my mental health, and it'll pass. Like, that's not helpful. It makes it worse, actually. But what they can do is, I can't fix this problem for you, but I can be on this phone for you as long as you need me to, while you break down, and know that I'm here for you and that I'll always be here for you. So that's kind of what holding space. It's just a very sacred space of trust. It's a sacred space for me of people allowing me to break and be from the pressures of life, or whatever it may be, is to just a non-judgment safe space, is what that kind of looks like. Because again, we're getting all these outside information from media, from society about, you can't break down, you can't show all this stuff, and you don't need that in your friendships, where they're supposed to be, again, sacred bonds between, good people. So it's just, that's kind of what that looks like. Again, it's just that non-judgment space of being open and honest, and knowing that you won't be judged for it, or you won't be judged for having, I guess, a moment of weakness, even though I don't like that term.
Right,
but
it's not really a moment of weakness.
It's not really a moment. It's just life.
Life happens.
Right,
and
exactly.
Everything isn't picture perfect, rosy keen all the time.
Exactly.
It just is not that way. That's not real life.
Exactly.
Real life has problems. Real life has struggles and issues, and we are real people who have real struggles and issues and things that happen. Good things and bad things that happen, and there's no preventing bad things from happening, or so holding space is really important, and to have a space open enough even to hold space for someone, creating that mental space and energy, emotional and spiritual space, to be able to hold somebody within a space, and to have that space for them is really important and valuable.
Right.
Who is one person that has really inspired you in your life? It can be somebody you know, like personally, that you're really close with. It can be some famous person. It can be somebody who's dead. It may be like, someone from the past. that's past. All I keep thinking is Harriet Tubman now. But I know that's not it.
No.
But I'm thinking there's so many people that could have inspired you because you're so strong and you're determined. You really are.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
I saw that in French class.
No. Oh my God.
Strong in beautiful ways. She was so strong. She kept trying and trying and trying it so well. She really did. She was like, I am going to accomplish this.
Right.
I am going to do this, and I am going to enjoy it by the end of this thing.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for saying that. I mean,
so it could be anybody that has inspired you.
Two of my best friends, Lori and Mary, her name is also Mary, who again was the creator of the show. She's just someone that inspires me, just because she's just been through so much and she's just still able to just keep going and not give up on her dreams, and despite what everyone says. And and then again, my best friend Lori that I was telling you about, that I've known since 4th grade, I think is just one of the coolest people I know, and how she's just always able to even when things are hard. I'm not saying she doesn't get sad, but she's just always able to laugh and find a joke and just kind of look at things in a positive light. And I need that because I'm definitely more of a pessimist, if I'm being totally honest with you. And it's nice because she helps me balance that out. And in terms of, so I guess in
everyday life,
like people would be like my two like best friends. And then I think in like celebrity, like limelight kind of, I admire, it's funny, I think I made a list of people that I admire at some point when I was journaling, and I think and again, I might not know these like celebrities or anything like that, but just in their way of being, Leonardo DiCaprio was actually on there, Angelina Jolie, again, I admire her work that she does like with the UN and stuff, Frida Kahlo, Eartha Kitt, Grace Jones. Anytime like I've seen them, like they're just so, I love Jada Pinkett Smith. I love I'm not sure if you've seen her show like Red Table Talk or anything, but that's also really good. She also I just like how they carry themselves. I like you can just tell people who are always comfortable in their own skin and not, they really just don't care what society or anyone has to say. They're fully themselves always, and I admire anyone that's kind of like that or exudes that. I always find admiring. So there's some other people, but off the top of my head, it's usually people that again do and pursue their passions and aren't conformed to one thing and are fully comfortable in their skin and is honest and open about that.
How do you think women can be more open about who they truly are, or more authentic?
That just starts with, being yourself, whatever that looks like to you. You can't, if you just by being yourself, you give someone else the permission to do the same, whether you realize it or not. So that would just be, because there's no formula for that. It's just what could me being myself for me, it's not the same for you or for any other woman. It's just you pursuing and finding out who you are for yourself and fully embodying that, will, I have no doubt, inadvertently inspire other women to be the same. So
Well, you have been very inspiring for these conversations, and I know people are going to be taking a lot away from these.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
No, truly, heartfelt,
Yeah.
sincere. I know how strong you are and things that you've had to overcome, and I've seen you grow through the time that I've known you. And been friends with you, not just in French, but through your whole life.
Right. Outside of French class.
She's great at French too. But really, her whole person. She's grown so much.
Yeah.
And just knowing the things that you've overcome and how grounded you really are in yourself and true to yourself, and how you allow your own soul to radiate through your life and through everybody else's life that you touch and come in contact with is amazing.
Thank you.
So I know that other people will get a lot from this video, and so thank you for being on Soulful Women and for helping us to uncover and discover what it means to be a woman full of soul, and to allow everybody else to experience your presence and all of the beautiful life lessons that you have learned on your journey.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And if anybody would like to contact you about design work,
Oh my gosh.
where would they contact you, Janel?
So you can, I do have a website, so you can check that out. You can go to jlfportfolio.com, and you can send me an email through there. I also have a Instagram where I showcase some of my photography, and that's Fitz Photofolio. So it's FITZ photo and folio FOLIO. Yes, Fitz Photofolio on Instagram.
So her Instagram account is beautiful. You have to check it out. It's great.
Thank you.
You are welcome. And so we will see all of you, or I will see all of you next time with another guest on Soulful
Bye,
Women.
everyone.
Bye.